Hey Eric, Dennis, thanks for sending that thing back. I'm not going to do all of these things. I'll talk about some, but I'm going to show you, I'll show you some as well. So the estimating, I really like to take a look at how you're estimating right now. I assume you're using Excel. I'm going to just open up one of my electrical things here, and don't laugh because I'm not an electrical guy, but we set up something here. Let me just pull it up. So the way Sage 100 basic estimating work is we work off of what we call assemblies. Some people call them bill of materials, but we call them assemblies. So this is recessed halo, and this is the size, okay? What this is kind of the best way to explain it is kind of the recipe. So I know for every time I have to install one of these fixtures, I need one of these, I need one of these, 25 of these, 5 of those, 3 of these, and 1/10 of that, whatever that is, and I need 0.65 of a man hour for somebody to install it. So on this job, regardless of how many there are, it's going to use this recipe to calculate out the extended quantity. So in this case I had 24, but let's just make this a big job, and I got 200 of those fixtures to do. I now know that I need 200 of these, 5,000 of these, 1,000 of these. This is the cost that's in my updated database, which is being updated from your suppliers. And so now I know this is my cost, and then this is the profit and overhead rate and profit rate to get me to my bid price. Why you'd want to do it here, and you don't have to, we can work with your Excel. A lot of people continue with Excel for a while. Is once I identify who I'm going to buy these from, I can then create the purchase order to buy these materials for the entire job. I can also send this budget out to accounting so I get my actual versus my budget without having to rekey it. And then if you subcontract items out, same thing, we can print those subcontracts as well. So one reason for doing it here is we use it at least 3 times. We usually throw it over to the budget for sure. We definitely will create your purchase orders, and we can create the subcontracts as well. And if you want to do RFPs to your vendors and say, hey, these are the parts I want, send me your current prices, we can do that as well. So by doing it here, we basically use the same information 3 or 4 times without having to rekey anything, which is a plus. So that's pretty much it on estimating. I'm sure you're saying, well, what's the proposal look like? You show us your proposal, with our report writer, we can recreate that in our system. 9 out of 10, 99 out of 100, I should say, probably. So the next thing I want to look at just quickly is in our project management, change orders, purchase orders, subcontracts, cost to complete. There's a couple ones in here that I really like. This one here. Let me just pull a job up that I have something on. Hang on a second. So in this case, it's not your items, but picture your items. Rough wire, terminate, install fixtures, whatever. These are the items of work that you do. This is the hours that you had in your estimate, and again, this can come from our estimating, or it can just come from your Excel. We really don't care. This is the hours that have been processed through payroll. So the only thing you need to do on a weekly basis is you come in and say, you know what, let's make this item a bad item today. I'm only 75% complete at the end of this week. I recalculate this. It now tells me I need 9 hours to finish this, and I'm going to be 12 hours over budget. And so basically we just need a percent complete on a weekly basis, and the rest is all done. That's the only thing I keyed in here. I now have a report to share with my field people, or a lot of our clients let the field people run that themselves. So that's on hours. The way I like to look at it, and my background is heavy highway, high production, concrete. I like to look at unit cost. Again, this could be pull wire, terminate fixtures, whatever you want to put in here as tasks. This is the budget to do that. Again, can come from Excel or our estimating. This is how many units I had to do. This is the cost from your vendors, inventory transfers, equipment costs, whatever. This total equipment or total cost of these line items. Again, only thing you have to fill in is here, how many do I have done? And let's just say to this week I'm finished with 115 of those. That one I don't have to recalculate, it does it automatically, but based on that, I budgeted $80.50 a unit. I'm actually spending $82.51, so I'm over about $2 a unit, 35 left. This is what it's going to take to finish it, and that's how much I'm going to be over budget. So the point here being is that over time, I go, oh wow, this job's a lot like 3 other jobs I did. I can go back and look at those for this job and say, hey, you know what? This item cost me $80.50. It cost me $80.80, and it cost me $81. I'm pretty comfortable. I'm sorry, in this column here. If I have my actual for the last 3 or 4 jobs, and I can come up with a new budget, at least I have something to bounce it off of, and not just, and I know you guys are really successful, not the seat of the pants or a wild guess. It's kind of like, hey, I came up with $82. I think this is just like the other job. What did it really cost me on that job? We can go back and verify that your budget's still looking pretty good. So those are 2 reports I really like. The one I think that you were really interested because I saw you marked it is, and it's hard to do in QuickBooks, is this committed cost report, because that's a moving target all the time. And so what this report's going to show me is for a job by task, my budget plus approved change orders, what cost has come into the system so far through payroll, or like I said before, inventory transfers or accounts payable, what subcontracts have been written but I have not been invoiced by the vendor yet, and what purchase orders have I written for materials that I haven't received the invoice for yet. So let's look at this last line because it's the easiest spot. I had a $3,400 budget, and so far we've spent $2,700. I like round numbers, as you can tell. So I call that my fat, dumb, and happy. We go home fat, dumb, and happy because we go, hey, got a $3,400 budget. I only spent $2,700, and I'm finished on that item. I'm not going back out there. Well, we wrote a purchase order to somebody for $2,500, and you can bet whatever you want, you will get an invoice for that $2,500. Once that $2,500 comes in, it disappears from the open purchases and hits this cost of date. And now we're going to be whatever $2,000 over budget. And so this keeps an eye on that. The thing I like is, how did I spend $12,000? Because I got guys charging stuff all the time. There's where I spent $12,000. It was with these 3 vendors on these dates for this amount of money, and I can drill back to the actual AP invoice to see what was entered. I'm trying to find a labor item. I'm not sure. I'm going to find one. No. If it was labor, it would list the person and the days that he was charging his labor there and how much the labor was. And that labor does include all the burden, all the workers' comp, any cash fringes on your certified projects. All of that is included in the payroll that is charged to the job. So, I bounce out of there. That is a great report called Committed Cost Report. So also in project management, one of the features here is RFIs, transmittals, submittals. But the daily field reports is a real inexpensive way for the guys to get their time in, and it can be done a couple different ways. Most of my smaller clients, what they'll do is they just set up a computer in the office with GoToMyPC on it. This will be maybe the only menu option that they have privileges to get into, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. But they would come in here and say, here's today's date, here's the job that I worked on, this is what I was doing, this is me, this is the superintendent that's reporting it, this is who was on my job, this is what they were doing, the regular time or overtime, prevailing wage, what pay group do I want to pay them with today, because what task were they actually performing, and then how many hours did they work today. I'll show you a couple other things. That's everything you need to process payroll. What subcontractors were out there, if you are going to charge your equipment to your jobs, what pieces of equipment worked, what item was it being charged to, and how many hours was it being used, and how many hours on standby, and then we will be charging those rental rates right into the job cost on that job. So that's how I do it. Bottom down here, can track accidents and all that information. If I have meetings, what kind of meetings did I have? What kind of notes do I have? This is huge. It's like 90 pages right there. So I have the ability to do that. If I wanted, I can come up here and attach something to this. I'm not sure what I have, so hang on a second. So I would just go in there, attach that, browse, and I want to go to my desktop, and files, and here is, I have no idea what this is. We'll just put that picture, and I'll attach that. So I close this. You'll see now that this is white instead of gray, so that means there's something there. I picked that up, and there it is. That's a picture of the job for the day, or it's a scanned document where I got the permit signed off by the inspector, and I want to attach it to it. that's exactly what you can do there. So next time somebody comes into this daily field report, they see this, I go, oh, I wonder what's attached there. They can go in and see what's ever attached to that record. Really simple to do. I mean, seriously, anybody can do that. I'm not going to go payroll, full-blown payroll, all of your reporting for the state, all the reporting for the federal government. You can do direct deposit if you want to do direct deposit. All of the certified payrolls, you run the certified payrolls, workers' comp report, all part of the system. Nothing, too difficult there. Everybody doubts me when I can do this. So if I go to accounts receivable, it sounds like you do progress billing. If I go to progress billing here, I'm just going to pull up one of my open invoices. Right here. So these are my line items, my schedule of values. If I had change orders that impacted those lines, it would be here. So this is my contract value as of today. This is what I want to bill for this month. And so you can see here, I have two ways of doing this. I can enter an amount in this column, or I can enter a percent in this column, and it works back and forth. So in this one, I wanted a round number. In this one, I wanted a round percent, so it comes up with a funky number. If I wanted to make this 200 and do that, I could. Just recalculate this, answer the question, say yes. And I put the one time. It's like 200. Calculate percent complete. So now I come up with 57.23%. So, but now I have a round number. So anyway, that's how I want to do this. But what I do afterwards is, save that real quick. Do this one. The only thing I can say here is this is as close to the AIA format as we can get without infringing upon their copyright. Very close, but it is not infringing upon their copyright. It'd be hard pressed for you to find the differences. But anyway, it looks just like the one you're probably used to, with the descriptions of the work that we did in the back page. So we absolutely can do that. If somebody says, hey, Eric, you have to fill out the form with the red line on it, or red seal, I think it's the red line nowadays, we can actually just take that actual paper with the line on it, insert it in a printer, and just fill it out for you. So we can do that as well. AIA billings, full-blown T&M, time and materials. You can have different wage rates per job. You can have different markups, different overheads per job. You can hide the markups on the invoice and just show the marked up cost, or you can show the actual cost by line item and then have all the markups and overheads shown at the bottom. We've got 1,300 customers, and there's not 1,300 different ways, but I've seen a lot of different ways that they do it. So we can do that as well. If you mentioned equipment, I was curious maybe what kind you had. I'm assuming kind of man lifts type thing, possibly some little skid steers or something for underground stuff, and service trucks or whatever. So once you set your equipment up in here, and I'm just going to pull up a piece that I already have set up. Once I set this up, on this piece, but I'm not going to go through the details on how I get here, but I've decided, based on the utilization of this equipment and my cost to operate this and maintain this, that I want the job to pay me every hour it works. I want $85. If it's on the job site and they're not using it, I still want them to pay me $20 an hour, because I do have ownership costs that I have to recover. And if that thing sits out there for 3 weeks, I do have to make a payment. So I'm going to make that job pay for it, whether they're using it or not, which will give them an incentive to send it back to the yard or get it to the next job. So I've got a lot of experience with that, but that's all should be built into your estimate. So we're just going to manage that against your estimate and see if these guys are doing their equipment correctly. Close that. I try to keep these things under 15 minutes. We're running out of time here. And I can always do another one if there's something special you want to see, but this is the difference between your QuickBooks Today or Peachtree, whatever you have. I'm going to hide this real quick. Your project people are going to have this desktop when they come in the morning. So if they want to look at a job, I just click this, and what job do I want to look at today? I want to review job number 2. And then down the bottom, it's like, what were my bid items? What's my budget? What purchase? Here's my budget by line item, so I can review that without having to go dig it out of a file. What purchase orders have I written for this job? What's the status of those purchase orders? Close that. If I've got change orders, what change orders are on this job, have they been approved yet? I don't remember this one here. What is this change order all about? Right back to the change order. What it was for, the date it was submitted, the date it was approved. Again, if there were pictures or emails attached, they'd be up here in the top right-hand corner with a white paper clip instead of the gray one. So the ability here is to go across this job and see everything that's going on with this job without having to bug the office. The other report that the project managers really like, or superintendents, I use that term interchangeably, is this one right here. Let's go with this job too. This is a nice little snapshot. It's called a prime contract audit, but this was my original contract, $279. These 3 change orders have been approved, so the new contract value is now $290. These are the invoices that I've already invoiced, so I know what the total invoice so far is and what remains to be invoiced. Also, I keep a column over here of open pending change orders. And again, I can double click on this. If I don't see it come back, I can double click this and call the bank and say, hey, are we going to upgrade the tile, or are you going to stay with what we had in the original bid? And if he said, no, I want to do that, bug them enough, they'll get it back, and then this will move over to the approved column. Hopefully you can tell here, we don't miss much. I mean, I don't think we miss anything actually. We do estimating, we do scheduling with a Gantt chart, 139 different cost reports in here, going along with about 1,300 other reports, inventory and equipment management, all of your banking, check reconciliations and what have you, payroll, the whole, this compensation slip's great if you're doing certified payroll. It tells them what job they were on and what rate they were getting paid for that job, and that's always a question that comes back to the payroll department by these guys in the field. But we actually print out something separate from their check stub. It's called a compensation slip. It says, these are the jobs you worked on, this is the pay group that you worked in that day, and this is the rate for that job, so they know exactly what they got paid for. AP, very simple to use. It does track all of your insurance. It will not allow you to pay a vendor that has expired insurance. Lots of different things. I noticed you did not have service mark, but we have a full service module as well. And here is nothing on the screen, just pretty much the same. Under administration, a bunch of little odds and ends, but I've got to show you this alert manager because it was just added in the last release. I don't have a lot of question here. But think about this. I have a check mark, and this alert that I've checked off says, anytime a job has cost that exceeds the budget for that individual task/cost code, it will send you an email, or the project manager email. But it's gonna, next morning you'll have an email in your inbox saying, yesterday job 5, cost code 15, whatever the description is for that, went over the original budget. So no more looking at reports, nobody trying to figure that out for you. Just get an email, or have that email sent to your project manager. So all of that's part of the system. So anyway, hey, 18 minutes. I'm sorry it took a little bit longer than I anticipated, but there was a lot of check marks here. So if you need anything else, give me a call. Like I said, I sent you a proposal a couple weeks ago. If you want me to refresh that, let me know. But if you want to do something this month, great. If not, July, we'll be here as well. We've been here for 12 years, got 1,500 customers. So when you're ready, we'll be ready. But hopefully this gives you a pretty good idea of the flexibility of the system and also the scalability. I mean, we cover everything. And then you can add users or you can add modules as you go. So have a great week. If I don't talk to you next week, have a great 4th of July. We will be closed Thursday and Friday, which I think everybody else is going to be as well. So have a great week. Thanks.